What's going on, everybody? Welcome back. FantasyTeamAdvisors.com bringing home the bacon. NFL DFS video for Week 6. We are breaking down the main slate. So we've done it in the past few weeks. You guys have liked it, so I wanted to break it down. I wanted to give you enough time to listen to it. Now, you've probably already seen that it's a longer video than normal, okay? I get that. Now, if you're looking for certain plays, like just a handful of plays at each position, stuff like that, we'll have that in the Discord, but trying to make these longer videos to make you a better DFS player. So we're going to break it down. So if you've never been here before, kind of the breakdown is we're going to look at the Vegas numbers. We're going to see where Vegas thinks the points are going to be. We're going to go over our matchup tool, which you can find on FTA, which is FantasyTeamAdvisors.com. Under the NFL tab, the Bacon Station. Now what that is I'll kind of discuss that throughout. So we're going to use that. We're going to use Outlier, which is our sponsor. So Outlier.Bet is the sponsor for all of these videos, so make sure you check them out. We also are going to build lineups using SaberSim. Now, we've done this the past few weekends, and I've heard huge successes from you guys, either on our YouTube videos or in our Discord, showing the likes and showing the wins in the winning channel lineup over there, or winning lineup channel over there. So make sure you check that out. All of that is down below. Now, you will see chapters for this video, so you can skip around to get to where you want to go. But it would be very helpful if you just watch this video and click on the ads to help out the channel. Also, we do have some merch if you guys are interested. Buying some stickers is awesome. One of these shirts is, well, the video is not the best, but this is our baseball logo for FantasyTeamAdvisors.com. All of that is on the site. So make sure you help us out, liking the video, leaving a comment, because we have giveaways every single day, or every single video, I should say. So the giveaways, here's how to win. First way, like the video, be a YouTube subscriber, and leave a comment for the comment picker to pick you up. If this video gets at least 50 likes, you have a chance at a free week of FTA Plus. That is a week of MLB, what's left of MLB, a week of NASCAR, NBA in a couple of weeks, NFL, PGA, MMA. We've got it there. So if you guys are interested, make sure you like the video. If this video gets 100 likes on it, someone will win a free month. 150 likes, a free $200 a year. 200 or more likes, a chance at a lifetime pass. So if we look at last week's video breakdown, we had 783 views, 16 comments, 55 likes. So 55 likes and only 16 comments. So 1 of 16 is how you have a chance to win right now. Could have been 1 out of 55 chance, but it's 1 out of 16. So make sure you leave a like and a comment on this video. We're going to see who the free week of FTA Plus is going to. And it can be the same person over and over if they're the only ones leaving comments. The winner is Banny Boyla. I believe you're new to the channel. I've never seen you before. I've never seen you comment on any of our, especially like our MLB videos. So congratulations. So all you got to do, like this, let me know, leave a comment so I know you saw this, and then email me, dfshelp1@gmail.com. That's dfshelp, the number 1 at gmail.com. And we will get you set up for a free week of FTA Plus. Depending on how early you get it in, maybe you get it 2 weeks of FTA Plus. NFL content anyway this weekend if we get our content out early next week. So very excited to have you guys. A lot of new faces, a lot of new names in these channels. Now, the second way, we did this with baseball, but somewhere in this video I will say a keyword. Listen for that keyword and type it in. If you type it in, you will have a chance to win another free week of FTA Plus. Now, you could technically win twice, but bring it back, like the video, leave a comment, and leave a comment with the keyword. Next week's video, you have a chance to win a free week on top of a chance at hopefully a free year for you if we get 150 likes. So congratulations to Banny Boy LA or Banny Boyla. Congratulations, you are the winner of this week. So what we're going to do is we're looking at DraftKings here. We're going to what we're going to do is we're going to go through. We're going to make some adjustments on SaberSim. We are going to build lineups as well using those simulations. So what we're going to do is Vegas odds. So currently the top 5 games as of now obviously these will change a little bit. Cowboys-Lions has the highest over-under. Highest over-under at 52, and that is smack dab right here, the last game on the main slate. Now, on FanDuel, the main slate has the Sunday night football game as well. So you can use this information. Obviously, the salaries are just going to be a little bit different. And at the end of this video, I'm going to link you guys to our top stacks. So we did a video of the top 5 stacks of the week that we like. That video will be linked at the back end of this as well. So make sure every video we have, share them, like them. Clicking on the ads for the algorithm helps us out as well. So the second highest performing game projected right now, Ravens at the Commanders. So the first game on the slate. So the first and the last game on the main slate have the highest over-unders. That is currently at 51.5. It opened up at 49.5, so it has gone up. So I love both sides of that. Jaden Daniels is obviously doing a lot of great things. Lamar is doing Lamar things. So we got to get exposure to that game as well. Seahawks 49ers already happened. So then we look at the let's see. We cannot do Giants Bengals, but we've got them in one of our stacks. You can on FanDuel. So if you're watching this, you can on FanDuel. Packers Cardinals 47 over under. Looks like a little bit of rain in Green Bay, so we'll monitor that situation. But currently we've got that at 47. It did open up at 47.5, so pay attention there. With the Packers being a 5.5 point favorite. And then also looking at this, second to last game on the slate, Falcons at Panthers. We've got a 47 over under. It opened at 42.5, so it is shot up. And it's got Falcons as 6 point favorites where the line was 3 as they opened. So I do love Atlanta as a stack there as well. So we're going to go through all of that. Now, also we're going to go over is our matchup tool. So you can find this on the website. I'm just going to show you kind of what it is. But this is great information. Let's zoom in to 100. There we go. As you can see, this is the quarterback. This is week 6. This needs to be updated. You can see the teams, how many games they've had, the red zone ranking for that defense. So this is the defense and how all of the points they've allowed this year. Fantasy points per game. DraftKings, FanDuel, whichever you're playing. You then come over here and you can see the quarterback, all of their stats, their quarterback ranking, all the way down to give you an idea of what players to use and how to build it out. Now, with that, we've got all positions. We've got rankings for every person. Running backs, we have 2 or 3 on a team if they are involved in the game. Wide receivers, anywhere from the top 2 to the top 5 because like Washington throws the ball a ton. Tight ends, 1 or 2, whatever we have there. So all of that is there. You can check it out for $10 a week or $30 a month. But today, this week only, are the first 10 people that go to FantasyTeamAdvisors.com, FTA Plus, and use the promo code 20month, 20 MONTH, all one word. You are going to get the first month $10 off for $20. So if you guys are interested in it, that is $20. That'll give you a month. That'll give you up until November 11th, 12th, 13th, whatever day it is that you're watching this. You will get a month of all content. So NFL, the rest of our MLB content, NASCAR, PGA, MMA, NBA, first couple of weeks of NBA as well. So it's first come, first serve. Then first 10 people that use 20 MONTH, I will put that promo code in the description as well. So what we're going to do is we're going to build out some lineups. We're going to use SaberSim. I'm going to show you exactly how we do it. We use them. I don't have a promo code for them. I don't have a referral code or anything like that. We're just using it. So it's great to use right off the bat, but that's the difference. When you build out, you don't want to just use it and then that is it. You want to tweak it a little bit because that's where the bread and butter really is. So you can see there's a bunch of questionable tags and stuff like that. We'll actually go over each position real quick to see questionable tags. Anthony Richardson, questionable. I don't know why. Joe Flacco, I will die on this hill. Joe Flacco is a better quarterback than Anthony Richardson, especially if Anthony Richardson's not 100%. Joe Flacco should be in there. I'm just going to tell you right now. Richardson, game log, the highest he's done was 27.08, and that was week 1 against Houston. What did Joe Flacco do? at the same price, 30.56 in his first start this year. All he did was put up 359 yards on 44 attempts. Come on. Like, he should be the starter until he just falls apart. Anthony Richardson had flashes of great stuff last year. Who knows? So Derek Carr is out. It's for whatever reason right now, it is doubtful, but he's already been out. It is going to be Spencer Rattler. Now, Rattler comes in. Where is Rattler? Did I miss him? 4,000. He's going to be very highly owned because he technically has the second best matchup of all quarterbacks on this main slate. So the number one matchup for the week is Caleb Williams against Jacksonville, but they are in England, so that game is earlier. Tampa Bay Bucks rank 31st against the quarterback. They give up an average of 23.4 DraftKings fantasy points per game to the quarterback. On FanDuel, they give up 23.2, so very, very close. So Rattler obviously has not done anything. He will be the starter. He's going to be very cheap. Again, make multiple lineups. Don't make this the only lineup. He should be in at least one of your lineups because he is so cheap. He allows you to stack with him and still pay up for almost every big guy you want. Because, again, he's $4,000. He's got the second best matchup of the day. He's got the best matchup for quarterbacks. It just depends on how it's going to translate for him in the NFL in this game against a Tampa Bay defense that has been beat up against the quarterback this year. So, secondly, would be the second game here that has the best matchup is Will Levis against Indy. Now, Indy gives up an average of 23.2 fantasy points per game and ranked 30th on DraftKings. So if you look at Levis here, now this isn't necessarily what we're going to use, but he's also cheap, 4,800. Didn't do anything against Miami. Obviously, he will start. He exited week 4 injuring his shoulder. Obviously, he had time to recover. He had a good game at 16.6 against Green Bay, but that's still not a ton. The most he's thrown is 260 yards, 4 touchdowns. He has 6 interceptions as well. He's thrown an interception in every single game. I don't love that, but he does have a good matchup here against Indy's defense. So you could use that a little bit if you are looking at that. But again, it'll depend on who is he going to throw it to or check down to. So while he does have a good matchup, I don't know how much I will be using him. But speaking of week 6, we will have a betting video out there. There's a few trends at each position that I do like that look like they could hit. And Outlier is that website that we will be using. So start betting with Outlier. You can check out the link down below. Sign up, go through the 7-day free trial. And if you would like it, pay for the monthly subscription. We're going to give you a free month of FTA+. Do the Pro package. We're going to give you 3 months free, which is a $90 value. So make sure you check all of the insights out. All of this will flood into our Discord as well for the insights. But we absolutely love Outlier, and I think you guys will too. Check it out. You get 7 days free no matter what. So then we look at the next one. Ravens give up. They're ranked 29th against the opposing quarterbacks. That's Jaden Daniels. In the second highest game over-under, we've got to take exposure to that. So we take exposure to both of those. So quarterback in that situation, Lamar Jackson's the highest. They're the top 2. Still under 8K, which I'm okay with. I love this matchup for both of these guys. So Jackson, obviously, 37.42, 348 yards against Cincy. Threw it 42 times. For someone they say is not a throwing quarterback, threw it 42 times in that game. 26 of 42 is not the best completion percentage, but he still chucked the ball up there. He runs a lot too. Same thing with Jaden Daniels. Quarterback rating 106.2. We look at that. 20 plus out of every single game except for the Giants, which just didn't make any sense because the Giants defense not that good. But last week, 14 of 25 for 238 yards and a touchdown. Ran for 82 yards as well. He's got 4 tutties on the year. He's got 2 interceptions, over 1,100 yards already. We've got to get exposure to these guys. So that is where we're going to start building. We're going to look at the quarterbacks, and we're going to go from there, and we're going to check out each position and how we like it. So we're going to use a few of the ones we like with the matchup tool, but if you want to see the matchup tool, you want to see a cheat sheet, you want to see rankings at each position, the chalk that we've got so you know what to play for cash or what to fade for tournaments. If you want to see showdown projections, if you want to see stacks, all of that are there on the cheat sheet. $10 for a week, or $20 for a month using the promo code 20month, 20 month. So we can look at this. Lamar Jackson is the highest projected here. I am going to bump him up to 25. I want the algorithm to see that I really want to use him in these games. And what I love about this is SaberSim will show us, we can build 5,000 lineups. And then on top of that, we can figure out which tournament we want to play, and we can simulate it as well, and it'll show you some of the simulations that come through it. So Jalen Hurts against Cleveland, I do not like him. He has not shown much for me at all. He's the third highest priced quarterback on the slate. He's only hit over 20 fantasy points one time. It does look like he's going to have all of his players back, Devonta and A.J. Brown, so that's a plus. Saquon's obviously there as well, but he just has not looked the same this year. Coming from some guy who drafted him in my season long, I'm not doing very well. He's only got 4 touchdowns on the year and 4 interceptions. He has not looked good. Whether or not coming off the bye it's going to be different, he's going to look like a stud, that I don't know. But we need to pay attention. I'm going to bump him down. He's at 21. He hasn't hit that. He has not hit 20. He's only hit 20 plus one time. I'm going to put him at 18. I want him to drop down this list because I don't love him as much as I guess SaberSim loves him. And this is where we make the adjustments. This is where we change it up a little bit as well. Dak. Great matchup for Dak. So coming off the game, didn't have the best matchup against Pittsburgh because of the whole weather situation. Still put up 22 fantasy points there. 2 touchdowns, 2 interceptions. Threw it 42 times. He's had 2 really good games, a mid game, and then 2 kind of just down games. But he's got a great matchup here. If we look at Detroit ranks 26th against the opposing quarterback. They give up an average of 20 DraftKings fantasy points and 20 FanDuel points as well. Both ranked 26th. For each position. Dak is currently the number 9 ranked quarterback this year, whereas Jaden Daniels is 2, Lamar is 1. So we've got 1 and 2 going against each other, and we do have Dak, and I love Dak here. The running game has been non-existent for Dallas, so he's going to have to throw the ball. Maybe run it himself a little bit, but we're going to get involved in the passing game. I think Dak gets involved there. So I'm going to bump Dak up to 22 because I still want him to be up there. Now, Jordan Love against Arizona. We do look at Arizona. They rank 23rd out of 32, 19.1 fantasy points per game. He obviously had a little bit down week last week. Everyone and their mom was on Jordan Love, Jaden Reed. It still worked out. I mean, he put up 16.96, only 15 completions of 26 attempts, 2 touchdowns, 1 interception, did have a fumble for a loss. So it was a down week. But if we look at what Arizona has done, Arizona as a defense has given up 1,100 yards through 5 weeks, 6 touchdowns, 4 interceptions. They have not given up a 300-plus yard game yet, but they've given up 125 yards on the ground and 3 rushing touchdowns to quarterbacks. Jordan Love is a plus here. I do like what he's bringing, so I'm going to bump him up just a little bit, but I'm going to put him at 20. Now, Richardson, I don't trust him enough. I'm going to put him at 17. I don't want much of Richardson. He's questionable. He's not 100%. He's down. Pittman's out. He's down his wide receiver 1 there. He's not Joe Flacco, like I said. So I'm going to get him out of there a little bit. We got Jaden Daniels. I'm going to put him at 23. I think this matchup could be a shootout, just like we saw Cincy and Baltimore last week, which we were all over. I want to get that up there as well. So the next one, we're kind of looking. If we look at the matchup tool, just kind of perusing the ones, Kirk Cousins makes a lot of sense. We obviously know that Kirk just put up 509. 4 touchdowns, 1 interception, 38.36 fantasy points. He was 5,600. He's still only 6,200 here against Carolina. Now, the Panthers, what the Panthers do, where are they at? Panthers give up an average of 19 fantasy points per game to the quarterback. They rank 22nd, just behind Arizona. Kirk, we didn't know what was going to happen if primetime Kirk was going to be primetime Kirk. They were. You can see Carolina's defense gives up an average of 226.6 passing yards per game. They give up an average of 144.6 to rushing. They give up the most amount of fantasy points to or they give up the most amount of passing or points allowed per game. They give up an average of 33 points a game. Kirk Cousins, Atlanta Falcons. Let's get that as a stack as well. I enjoy him. So Kirko, whatever you want to call him, he's down here at 17. He's coming up here to 21. He's going to be right above Jordan Love. I love this matchup for him. Not a ton of people are talking about him, but you guys in the comment section of that stacks video, put him on. We're talking about him. We're going to get him in our lineups. Then you've got, Kyler back and forth. I don't know. Not a ton there. Andy Dalton really hasn't done much. I don't trust him enough. Spencer Rattler, I'll put him at 15 just to bump him up just a little bit because he is so cheap. So there you go. Those are the quarterbacks that we've kind of discussed. Now we're going to look at the running back situation. Now, looking at the running backs, if we're using the matchup tool, that matchup tool has Buffalo giving up the most amount of fantasy points, but they are the Monday Night Football game, so we cannot play Buffalo on this main slate. So then we look at the second team. Carolina Panthers give up the second most amount of fantasy points to the opposing running backs. They give up an average of 32.2 fantasy points per game. That is the Falcons. So we're looking at Bijan. So let's just take this. We're looking at Bijan and Tyler Algier. Pretty much both of those. Obviously, Bijan's number one. Hasn't really done a ton this year. We kind of look 61 yards last week, 3 receptions for 16 yards. Okay. Against New Orleans, 28 yards on the ground, 46 in the air. He only has 1 touchdown this year. This is what is just so concerning. They need to get him the ball. They need to dump off passes. They need to do something. So what we're going to do is we are going to take Bijan and we're going to bump him up to 22. I want to get him in there. I want the algorithm to see that we really like him. You've got Algier as well. So you can see Bijan 10.7, 11.4, 13.2. So when he's not going off, is Algier going off? Not really. That's the problem. He's still getting attempts, anywhere between 3 to 10 attempts a game. Does catch some passes. He is 100% on his catches for the most in the game was 20 against New Orleans, which they're pretty good. They were a good defense to start the season. I'm probably off of Algier. He could have a bounce back day. Maybe if you're doing sports betting, you could use him. So Bijan, he is getting a bump up there for me for sure. We move to the next one, which is the Indy game or the London game, which we can't use. Then we come to Dallas Cowboys. Really thought the Cowboys were going to have a better defense than what they have. They're ranked 27th out of 32 against the opposing running backs. They give up an average of 27.1 fantasy points on DraftKings and 25.4 on FanDuel. So that brings us to Detroit. That brings us to both Jahmyr Gibbs and David Montgomery. You're going to save $500 with David Montgomery. David Montgomery is actually averaging more. This is the only problem. It is a concern because they do steal touches from each other. I don't know where we're at on that. They've got Jahmyr at 16.5. They've got David Montgomery at 14.35. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to bump it up to 17 on both. I'm going to do 17.5 for David Montgomery. I want them to be close and kind of figure out if they're going to be the real deal. So if the game, goes crazy, you still got David Montgomery stealing passes or stealing goal line, but you also have Jahmyr taking passes, little dump off passes, and he can find the open. I think they both can have good games here. I like this matchup. I want a stack of Jared Goff. I want a stack with his running backs. I want a stack with his wide receivers as well. So the next one, excuse me, we've got the Chargers defense. That brings us to Denver. So we know Denver's passing game is not ideal. Bo Nix is very, very bad right now. But the Chargers give up an average of 26 fantasy points, or 26.9 fantasy points on DraftKings. They rank 26 out of 32. Now, looking at that, Javonte or Jaleel, they really have not done much. They have not averaged much. You look at that. I mean, he did have a good game at 5,200 at 16.1 is perfect. You need about 2 to 3 times value. So 5,500 for Javonte, I don't mind him. So looking at him on here, he's at 15. I'm going to bump him up to 16. Not a ton, but I do want to bump him up just a little bit because does have a good matchup. Now, McLaughlin could, but I just don't trust him enough. You will save a little bit of money, but I'm a little bit scared to use him there. Colts. Colts are the next game that give up the most amount. Colts give up an average of 26.7 fantasy points per game. They rank 25th, so very close to Broncos. So that gives a bump to Tony Pollard. That gives a bump to Tajay Spears. They just came off a bye, whether or not that's going to help. We could definitely see that helping here. Can we not play them? They're right here. So Tennessee, Pollard and Spears, you can see Pollard $6,900 more, is averaging almost twice as many as him. So Pollard's obviously the number one. 18.8 did have a bad game, but other than that, he's had really good games. He's 6,000. He has not changed price since week 2 or week 3. I want to get exposure. I'm going to bump Tony Pollard up a little bit. He's at 17. Probably want to bump him up. Let's bump him up to 7.7 or 17.75. So I want to get him in there. I want to get that exposure to him. We can go down just a little bit more. Cardinals, Packers, got the Packers here. Green Bay, there is rain, so running might be what they do. Josh Jacobs, we've got Josh Jacobs in here, coming off a couple of good games here. He had a bad game against Tennessee, but other than that, he's hit value. What we're looking for, 2.5, 3 times value. Josh Jacobs, if the weather holds up and rains, I like Jacobs a little bit more. So we come down here, he's at 6, we'll put him at 16.5. We'll bump him up. And then lastly, that's kind of a mess. The last one that we're looking at is Houston. Don't know if it's going to be Joe Mixon. He's questionable. Limited participant. It's his first practice. Dameon Pierce was full participant. So it could be Dameon Pierce because Mixon might be out. So Akers, this one's a mess. Dameon Pierce really hasn't done a ton. Probably going to fade that one a little bit. I want to go with James Conner. 6,800. James Conner is right here. I'm going to put him at 17 as well. So there are also other ways. You can go through all of our projections on the site and you can update this as well. But these are the bumps that I'm giving here. You can come down and find some like a Bucky Irving has been getting the ball a little bit. So Bucky Irving could bump up there a little bit. I don't really trust Zeke, so I'm going to put him at 8. There's really been nothing going on with Dallas running game like we've talked about. Justice Hill has had some exposure. Derrick Henry, obviously, basically Kamara you don't need to touch because the algorithm's going to know. Derrick Henry is matchup proof basically, so we'll put him at 22. We'll get him towards the top as well. Najee, it just depends if he's going to be the lone back there. We could look at that as well. So that's the running back situation. Let's move to the wide receiver. Again, we are using the matchup tool. Jacksonville gives up the most, but they are the Sunday morning game. So now we have Detroit Lions versus the Cowboys. CeeDee Lamb, the number 1 on this main slate. Lamb is ranked 13th as the 13th best wide receiver this year. Has 2 touchdowns, 378 yards. I'm going to bump him up to 22 because I want them to know that I want Dak and I want CeeDee in there as well. Obviously, Tolbert is another one for this offense that you could get a little bit of exposure because he's 5,000. He's a little bit cheaper, so we can bump him up to 12. Get his juices flowing a little bit up there as well. So yeah, that brings us to the next one. Baltimore Ravens give up an average of 46 fantasy points per game against the opposing wide receivers. They rank 29th out of 32. That's Terry McLaurin, Olamide Zacchaeus, Dami Brown, probably not. So to F1 McLaurin, I'm going to bump him up. I'm going to put him up here at 14. I want him bumped up. I think he finally takes off if Jaden doesn't run it. I think they throw the ball a ton. I think McLaurin's going to be the guy that we really like. Eagles right here. They give up 45.5 fantasy points per game. They are ranked 28th out of 32. They're going up against Amari Cooper, Jerry Jeudy, Elijah Moore. So we're looking at Browns, wide receivers for the Browns. You can, however you want to do it. So you've got Amari Cooper here, which we were all over last week because he was in a good matchup. Didn't do a ton, had 60 yards. The problem is Deshaun Watson is an absolute trash bag of a human and trash bag of quarterback out of nowhere right now. He's looked absolutely terrible. We are 5 weeks into the season. He's been bad. If he can't get the ball out to Amari Cooper, then Cooper, he's not going to do anything with it. So he goes when Deshaun goes. So if Watson goes this week, I love Amari Cooper, but this Browns offense scares me a little bit. So I'm going to give him a little boost, but I don't love it because Deshaun Watson's been so bad. And they are 10.9. If you look at this, Philly's implied team total is 26.7, where Cleveland is 16.7. It is absolutely wild how awfully bad he actually is. How bad he is. It's crazy. So let's move on. Tampa Bay. They give up an average of 42.1 fantasy points per game, which is ranked 27th for wide receivers. So we're at the Saints. So we're looking at Saints wide receivers. We're looking at Olave. Rashid, questionable. Just got the notification that he is actually, in fact, in. And as you can see, let's take a look at both of these guys. Olave is averaging 11.2 at 6,600. Rashid is $1,000 cheaper. He's at 14.5. The problem is we've got Spencer Rattler here, so maybe tamper those expectations just a little bit to see what we've got. But I do like Shaheed here, so I will bump him up. I'm going to bump him up to 12, and I'm going to bump Olave up to 12 as well. I want them about even keel. You can see a little bit better value out of a Shaheed because he's cheaper. He's $1,000 cheaper. So you're going to save a little bit doing that. Then we can look at the Ravens. Washington gives up an average of 41.6 fantasy points per game, which ranks 26. Brings us Zay Flowers in the highest over-under on the slate, or second highest over-under. Zay Flowers, Bateman, Aguilar, probably not. So we look at that. Bateman is questionable. So he's good to go. They just have not removed his questionable tag. Zay Flowers is obviously the number one at 6,500. You will save some money with Bateman, but I'd still bump up Flowers here more than I'm going to bump up Bateman. So come over here, or not. They've moved it. There it is. Baltimore, Zay Flowers at 13. I'm going to put him up at 15. Good to go. Like this matchup for him. Maybe bump up Bateman to 8 just because he's good to go in this one. So those are just some of the wide receivers. Now we get to the tight end. For the most part this year, tight end's been basically a dumpster. Overall, they've been a dumpster fire. And it's kind of crazy, but they really have. So if we look at this, against the tight end, the Colts give up the most. They rank 31st out of 32. The 32nd team is not playing. They're on a bye. They give up an average of 15.2, so that is the Tennessee Titans tight end, or whoever they're going to go. They really haven't done much. Okongwu has not done much at all. Less than 10 every single game. That scares me a little bit. Okay? He's cheap. He's 3,300. He allows you. I want the algorithm to do it. Basically, with tight ends, I don't want to do a ton outside of a few of these guys. So I'm not really going to give him a bump. We look at the Ravens give up the second most. They give up 14, technically third most, but second most that are playing this week. 14 fantasy points per game, which is Washington, which is Zach Ertz. Could be John Bates, but Zach Ertz is averaging 7 at 3,700. I'm going to give Ertz a little bit of bump here. Bump him up to 9. So get him up there. Trey McBride makes a lot of sense. Brock Bowers has let us down. Love me some Jake Ferguson today. I'm going to put Jake Ferguson at the top. I want him at the top. I want that in a stack, especially if we're going with a Dak stack. We go Dak, we go Jake, we go CeeDee Lamb or Tolbert or whomever you want to go with. That's kind of where we're at. The next one you could look at would be Chargers give up 28 out of 32. They give up 13.7. Tight end wise, we're looking at the Broncos. And if we go to Denver, Troutman, Dulcich, really, they have not done anything at all. That's the problem. They have not done anything, and they're still just wild that they're under 3K, so they're very cheap. That's basically tight end in a nutshell this year. There's not a ton. Like, you're going to pay up for the guys you want to pay up for, especially at tight end. So Bowers makes sense. McBride makes sense. Laporta makes sense. Dallas Goedert makes sense. Ferguson's my number one. But yeah, you've got a lot of questionable tags here. Still take advantage of them. Let the algorithm do its thing. Defense-wise, overall, the defenses that have been really good, You've got the Steelers at the top going against Aiden O'Connell, I think. All the way down to the Patriots going up against Houston. Probably not going to use the Patriots. I'm not going to use the Panthers. So I'm going to go through defenses real quick. And I want the algorithm to know that I don't want Washington. I don't want the Cowboys because they've been bad. I like the Browns. I'm going to keep the Browns in there. I don't like the Panthers. I don't like the Cardinals. I kind of like the Colts because Will Levis has been bad. Texans, they are starting Drake, or New England starting Drake May, so I want them there. I don't want the Patriots defense. I don't trust them. Bucks, because it is Spencer Rattler, I'm okay with. Steelers, because they've been pretty good as well. So we look at that. You can see I'm going to take those guys out. Now, this is where it gets crazy. This is where we build, and this is where we separate ourselves from the fish. So when you're into SaberSim, go switch to old SaberSim. That's what I like to do. So we're going to switch to old SaberSim. We're going to go into the settings. We'll do 2,000 lineups. Okay. We are going to do the entrance. So we've got 118,000. So you can see the correlation in sim diversity. Over 50,000, it changes the sim diversity a little bit. So we can go 9. That's great. So lineup rules. This is where we stack. So if we look at this one, this is a rule that I have. So stacking at least 3 players with the quarterback. So quarterback, outside of that, depending if the running back, wide receiver, tight end, we can go there. Obviously, we do not want a defense going up against your quarterback. So save that. Go to sim settings, go contest simulation, we're at the NFL 25K quarter. And this is just one that we're looking at, not necessarily one you have to play, but there we go. So you save that. We're going to build lineups. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to pause this video until the 2,000 lineups have been completed. Then I'll be right back. It's going to be a little bit for me. It's going to be a second for you. All right. So let's run it, and we can look at it. You can see the number one that came through, and you can make adjustments with this, obviously. It's got Dak Prescott throwing to both Tolbert and Ferguson. It's got the Titans defense against Richardson, if it is Richardson. If it is Flacco, I do not want the Titans defense. You got Bijan there. You got Mooney. You got London, if you're going to throw there. You got Najee, which we didn't really talk about, but he's there. So, and then you can see the simulations, return on investment, pretty good. Rank 1, return on investment, 93.6%. And what it does is it goes with the contest that we did. So the 25K quarter contest. So you've got Dak there again, throwing to Tolbert, Lamb, and Ferguson. So QB +3. Bijan, Titans defense. Dobbins at Denver. Pollard, which we love Pollard in this one. Van Jefferson, which would be a cheaper option because everyone's going to be on Pickens. Pickens looks like maybe he's in trouble. I don't know what's going on. So then we've got Cousins. So you got Cousins throwing to both Mooney and London. You got the Saints defense, which they've kind of struggled lately. You got Bijan, which we still love. So you've got a QB +3, again, Mooney, London, and Robinson. Ertz, which we don't mind at all. Najee again. Cortland Sutton. I might tweak that a little bit because, again, Bo Nix has been terrible. You still got Kamara, though, against Tampa Bay. So we've got some lineups there. Dak again to Tolbert. So it's really loving Dak. So then we can go through. We look at QBs. We can adjust if we need to. So I want to see what a lineup with Lamar looks like. So Lamar here, throwing to Zay Flowers, which we love. Najee is still in there. Michael Wilson in that lineup. If you're not going to go Marvin Harrison, okay. Lions defense versus Dallas. I don't really like that. Probably this is what I'm going to do. I'm going to go through. I don't like the Lions defense. Not a love with. I don't love that. And we can move all of that stuff. So this might be easier to run and look at. So you've got Lamar to Zay. You got Lamar here to Zay as well. Broncos defense, stuff like that. So it really just depends on what you want to do, how you want to build it around. You can look at team stacks. You can look at game stacks. You can update it. You can do stack exposure. You can see QB +1 was in 68 lineups. QB +2 was in 14. QB 1 +1 was 12. No QB stack was there. So QB 2+1. I mean, there's a ton of things you can go over. So what's a QB +1 out of 6? I'm curious if that's a huge game stat. Oh, no lineups there. Okay, no lineups in that one. So you can look at that. If you want to look at stacks as well, we've got that stacks video, which I will link here at the end. The keyword of the day, if you're still listening, is pineapple. So be on the lookout for listening for these keywords. So again, pineapple. All you got to do is type that into the comment section and have a chance to win a free month of FTA Plus. Or free week of FTA Plus, sorry. So yeah, that's kind of the way to do it. We built some lineups. We broke it down. If we were to go through each position real quick, just see which ones we don't like. Aiden O'Connell, I pretty much don't want anything to do with. He'd be the starting quarterback. Don't trust him. Did well last time, but against Pittsburgh's defense, I don't want anything to do with. Drake May making his debut against Houston, I don't love. Watson, I'm surprised Watson. I don't love Watson. If it's Jameis Winston, somehow I will take Jameis Winston for sure. I don't really want Andy Dalton against Atlanta. Russell Wilson's not playing. I don't want Bo Nix. Herbert's questionable, but I think he probably plays. I do want some Fields. I like Flacco, but he's not going to start. That's the problem. I love Cousins. So yeah, those are the ones I wouldn't use. Defenses wise, like we just talked about it, those ones that I got rid of, those are the ones I don't want anything to do with. So that's kind of where I'm at in that situation. So hopefully this was a eye-opening kind of build for you guys. If you want to check out the stacks video, if you want to check out the betting video, that'll be there. If there are certain things you want to see in these videos, let me know that as well. I can bring those to the table and put it in next week's video as well. So good luck to everyone. If you sign up for the month and get $10 off, use the promo code 20month, 20MONTH, all one word, all capital letters and numbers. And yeah, make sure you listened for that keyword. If you did not, go back and listen to it. Clicking on the ads helps. Buying some merch helps as well. Good luck in week 6. We will be back in week 7. And don't forget, check out the showdown video. We did one for Thursday night. We will do one for Sunday morning. We will do one for Sunday night. And we will do one for Monday night as well. Good luck this week, everybody. And as always, let's bring home some bacon. Peace.